Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord and I'm going to be showing you the top 5 best Vlandian wives that you can find. So these will be the people of Vlandian culture that are available to marry right away at the beginning of the game. And now, what makes a good wife in Bannerlord? Well, there's a number of things. For one thing, you definitely want to consider the stats that they have. Are they good at governing settlements? Are they good at leading war parties? Are they good at just being warriors that fight in your party? Maybe they're good at none of those things, but you still want to marry them because you love them so very much. Outside of that, you might be wanting to steal their weapons and armor. I think that's a bad reason to marry someone, but I can see that a lot of people feel that opinion, and so I won't hold it against you. Or maybe you're doing it for roleplay and you want to marry the daughter of a king because that's prestigious and blah blah blah. I can personally empathize with that because more often than not, that's what makes the decision for me. I like to play these games not strictly utilitarian. I like to roleplay a lot and it makes it a lot more fun. But whatever the case may be, I've got a list here of the 5 best Vlandian wives that you can find in the game and marry, and I'm going to tell them to you. But before we dive into that, I just want to say, as a disclaimer, this guide is intended for male characters playing to marry female characters, so it's not the other way. So if you're playing as a female character and you want to marry a male, the recommendations are going to be very different. You basically don't have to consider most of the stuff I'm saying in this video. All you really need to look for is who in that culture, because if you're trying to stick within a specific culture, who in that culture has the most stuff. So if you can marry the leader of the kingdom, that's obviously the best. Otherwise, you want to try to find an unmarried clan leader. So you don't want to just marry some random person. If you want to get their stuff and you don't want to like just fight for it all and get it all by yourself, if you want to get it through marriage, you're going to want to find a clan leader that is unmarried. And now every single faction has at least one where it's the faction leader or one of the clan leaders that isn't married. So if you're playing as a female character, that is who I recommend going for. Unless, of course, it doesn't matter and you're just going to marry someone and then create your own kingdom, which of course you can also do. But with all that in mind, let's dive on in and start off with number 5 for the best Vlandian wives. Alright, and starting us off at number 5, we have Asella, who is a member of the De Cortain clan. She's got some benefits to her. She's not crazy blowing your socks off good, but she's pretty solid, which, to be fair, I mean, the Imperial spouses in this game are pretty solid, but I think Vlandia might have the best spouses overall out of all the available women that you can marry in the game. And just in case you're wondering, I have already made videos for all the other factions. So that is Azerai, Battanian, Imperial, Khuzate, and Sturgian. I've already made videos for each one of them showing the best 5 wives in that faction. So if you're like, yes, this is super interesting, great video, but you're looking specifically for a different faction, trust me, that video's on the channel, and I recommend you check it out. But with all that being said, Asella is 22, so nice and young, plenty young to have lots and lots of children. She only has one negative trait, and it's that she's impulsive, which isn't great. I don't really like that. But considering her strengths are mostly in governing, it doesn't come up that much. And in governing, she has strength. So unfortunately, no impressive combat skills. We can see riding's at 100, but she doesn't have anything else to speak of. But her statecraft skills, is what I like to call these 3, are all really good. So we've got 121 for Steward and 120 for Charm. Both of those are way above average for anyone you're going to find in the game. So combine them together and it makes her a very good governor. But on top of that, she's also got 100 for trait. So if you marry her, the strength that she's got is in governing. So you're going to want her governing a settlement for you. And she's going to help make it more secure. She's going to make your people there happier. And she's going to make your markets more profitable. So definitely an excellent choice for all of that. And that's why she is one of my favorite wives out of all the Vlandian spouses that you could choose.
Peace to you, stranger. What is your name?
So, next up at number 4, we've got Ellis, and now, of course, in here you can see that she is from De Plantagenet, which is not her starting one. That's because I've married her, and you'll also notice that because of that, her steward skill is quite a bit higher than it should. Let's just pretend that it's down in the 100 to 120 range where it starts. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know I have it in a spreadsheet, but I don't feel like opening it up. Suffice it to say, it's quite high. So she makes a very good spouse. That being said, her father is Derthart, the ruler of Vlandia, so if you marry her, you're marrying a princess. Also, excellent attributes to have. You can see she's pregnant, she is 23 years old, and as far as her skills down here, like I've said, Steward's is higher than it should be, but it starts out being rather high, and her charm is 140, which is great, and trait of 102. So just like Asella in the first place, she's going to be a really good governor, which is one of the reasons why I really like Alice as a spouse. She doesn't have a whole lot of combat prowess or anything like that starting off, but she makes a really good governor right out the gate, and she's going to make your town significantly more profitable, safe, and, you know, all of your people happy. For all of those reasons, Ellis takes the number 4 spot.
I offer you my loyalty.
Again, decently fun accent. She's more attractive if you take the little headscarf thing off, but I haven't. But with all that in mind, not an annoying personality, solid choice all around. I really like Alice, so she takes the number 4 spot. So next up at number 3, so right in the middle, we have Reingarda, and she's another one of my favorites that I feel like a lot of people overlook. She's a really solid choice, but just for starters, it says Reingarda is a member of the Molarn, of a noble family of the Vlandians. She has the reputation of being kind, but cautious. I'd say that's good attributes for a wife. She's 22 years old, and if you look up here at her other attributes, it says merciful, cautious, and close-fisted, which close-fisted, yeah, that's negative, but other than that, she's got all solid stuff all the way around. Really solid option, and she's going to follow the same path as Acela and Ellis. She's not a warrior starting out, she's not going to be leading your war party, but if you put her in charge of a town, she's going to do a really good job, because she's got 121 for steward, 100 for charm, and 100 for trade. A lot of people always ask, my town or my castle's not profitable, how do I have it make more money? One of the things you can do is put a good governor in charge of it, and if you have one of these wives, they will be a very solid governor. So she's great for all of that. She's also nice and young and is kind and cautious, so she makes a good mother, and it's easy to have a great big family and have lots of kids if you marry her. For all of those reasons, Reingarda takes the number 3 spot.
I don't think I know you. Peace to you, stranger.
That one comes off as a little more French than German. That's a fun accent, though. So, that's Reingarda. Let's move on to number 2. So, our runner-up at number 2 is, of course, Liena. A lot of people's favorite. And now, I know this one, people will be like, why didn't you put her at number 1? Calm down. Number 1's really good, too. I know a lot of people really love Liena, and I've married her a number of times for playthroughs, Vlandian playthroughs, and she does make an excellent wife. So, I'm not saying anything negative about her. She's from the clan Daytir, but on the topic of Liena, she has a lot of good things going for her. For one thing, she's one of the few people that I do like to be able to steal the armor from, because she's got my favorite torso piece of armor in the entire game. No matter what faction I'm playing as, this is my absolute favorite piece of armor that you can get. It's got excellent stats and looks really good. So, if nothing else, it's good to marry her because you can steal her one piece of armor and give her something else. But with that in mind, she's also got just really good stuff all around. She's 25 years old, so slightly older, but still plenty young to have lots of kids. For attributes, you can see merciful, daring, honest, and generous, all of which are excellent traits, and if you're playing as a noble knight type character, which I like to do when I play as a Vlandian character, she makes a good wife for that. As far as her personal stats, she's good at governing, so you can see 142 for steward, 122 for trade, and 80 for charm. All of that combined makes her an excellent steward, so if you're looking for a wife to lead your settlement, she's really good at that. Her personal combat skills are also all quite high, as you can see, 120 for throwing, 120 for athletics, 150 for bow, 120 for crossbow, 180 for one-handed, 180 for two-handed, 180 for polearm, 140 for riding. Whew, that's a mouthful. You can see, very, very well-rounded and powerful warrior, but on top of all of that, 160 for leadership and tactics. She's got one of the best combinations for being a war leader in the game. She's better than a lot of lords in the game, people, leading clans and stuff. She's got a higher leadership and tactics skill than most of them. So she makes a really, really good war party leader, and that will help you in your wars if you marry her. So that's usually, when I marry Liena, it's usually because I'm planning on immediately being an aggressive party that tries starting my own kingdom and fighting through it. She makes a good war party leader, so she's very useful in that regard. But like I said, she's also nice and young and is very, very amenable to having children and stuff, so she's good at all of the wifely duties. So Liena is not only number 2 on the list for best Vlandian spouses, but in my opinion, she's in the top 5 best spouses in the game.
Peace to you, stranger. What is your name?
So, personality-wise, again, she's one that I quite enjoy. She doesn't annoy me at all. So, she takes the number 2 spot. Let's move on to number 1. All right, and finally at number 1, we have the number 1 best Vlandian wife, in my opinion, Sylvand. And not only, again, is she the best Vlandian wife, in my opinion, but again, one of the best wives in the entire game. It's real hard to beat her. She's a fantastic wife. For starters, you can see she's part of the clan De Aromang. She has the reputation of being fierce and cruel. So unlike Liena, who's all of the good stuff and everything, Sylvand has that fierce and cruel aspect to her. So if you're playing as I find Liena and Sylvand are two sides of the same coin. They're really similar stat-wise, about the same age, all that sort of stuff. But one of them is all noble and kind and all that sort of stuff, and the other one is fierce and cruel. So if you want to be like a robber baron type character, Sylvan makes a better wife. If you want to be a noble knight type character, Lyanna makes a better wife. Like I said, she is 24 years old, as her attributes are calculating and daring, and then of course the negative one of cruel. As far as her personal stats go, she's quite good at leading a settlement, just like Lyanna was. Sylvan is also quite good. You can see 100 for steward, 140 for charm, and 80 for trade, so if you put her in charge of your settlement, she'll do a really good job. As far as her leadership, she's not as good as Lyanna, but she has 100 for tactics and 100 for leadership, so she's quite good at leading a war party. Very, very solid, and her personal combat stats are all excellent, which is why a lot of people and I really like her. So 180 for two-handed, 180 for one-handed, 180 for polearm, 150 for bow, 140 for riding, 120 for athletics, which makes her nice and fast, and 120 for crossbow, 120 for throwing. So she's very versatile. She's an excellent warrior. You can put any weapon in her hands and she's going to fight really well with it. She can lead a war party like no one's business. She's just an excellent wife, and she's plenty young and quite good at having children. I've played with her and raised at least 7 children with her in one playthrough, so very solid option, excellent wife, one of the best in the game, takes the #1 spot for Vlandian spouse. I could see the argument that Lyanna's better. I could see that argument, but Sylvan's better looking.
Well now, stranger. Peace to you. What is your name?
I gotta love that Vlandian accent. People always wonder why YouTubers like the Vlandian so much. It's the accents, they're so much fun. But yeah, that is all for today. That is all 5, I should say, of the best Vlandian wives that you can play, that you can marry at the beginning of a playthrough in Bannerlord. Of course, you can marry anyone you want, you just have to go execute their spouse first, and then somehow convince them to forgive you and marry you. But with all that in mind, if I missed someone, or if you disagree with my ranking, or whatever the case may be, let me know down in the comment section below. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.